This segment provides an overview of each line in the machine program displayed on the LCD panel. To aid in understanding, we will demonstrate the function of each line of the program and the effect that it has on the wrap pattern. Each line of the program has been numbered from M000 to M018 to maintain consistency for our global customers and technicians. The definition of each line can be found in the instructions and parts list supplied with each machine. A quick reference guide can be used to assist technicians and maintenance personnel with pattern programming. There are two menus. The main menu is used for machine programming and standard operation. All dimensional values are displayed in millimeters. The hidden menu is designed for maintenance and monitoring and will not be covered in this video. Let's start with the main menu and the meaning of each line in the program. M000 is used to program and recall up to 10 preset wrap patterns. The number to the right of M000 indicates the active wrap pattern. To choose a wrap pattern, use the select arrows to scroll up or down to line M000 of the program. Use the value arrows to scroll up or down to the wrap pattern you want to apply to your load. M001 is the starting point for the wrapping process. This line in the program must be selected before the wrapping will begin. This line in the program is selected automatically upon power up of the machine or by pressing the yellow reset button. It is manually selected by using the select arrow. M002 change X. This selection requires a little explanation. This setting adjusts the number of the X patterns required to secure and unitize the pallet load. With this setting at -4, there will be fewer crossovers or X's in the pattern on the load, with approximately 914 millimeter spacing between them. With this setting at +4, there will be the most X's, with approximately 216 millimeters between the crossovers. The factory preset value F creates a crossover every 330 millimeters. The M002 setting is determined by the pallet load, box size, and weight. Heavier and smaller boxes may require more crossover X's. As a guide, use the factory preset F for boxes weighing 33 kilograms or 15 pounds. A change of one program setting is recommended for every 11 kilograms, 5 pounds, change in box weight. For example, a 22 kilogram or 10-pound box would typically use a setting +1, while a 44 kilogram 20-pound box would be -1. M003 top drop defines the distance down from the top of the load where the wrap pattern will begin and the top tape band will be placed. The recommended value for this setting is 1/2 of the box height in millimeters. M004 start tape is the point at bottom of the load which the tape pattern will start. It is measured from the top surface of the turntable. Note, it can be set slightly below the top of the pallet to secure the load to the pallet. When Yes is selected for line 5, top band, the machine places a horizontal band around the top of the pallet load at the beginning of the pattern to improve the load stability. A top band is recommended when the cartons are column stacked or if the box sizes do not allow for an interlocking of the layers. Selecting Yes for M006 multi-X directs the ST1000 to place the crossover X pattern you defined earlier in M002 on the pallet load. If No is selected, the machine will place only horizontal bands on the load. The No setting is used only to stabilize a load for short-distance intercompany processes, in other words, to the other side of the building. It is also used on single-layer loads, as an example, 55-gallon drums or similar loads. You will also note that when No is selected, line M010 appears in the program and is used to select the location of the horizontal bands. Lines M007, 8, and 9 are then not available as they are not required for banding. M007 looping is a yes or no selection. With yes, the machine applies a loop layer each corner over the top layer. M008 overshoot is the distance above the pallet that the tape carriage travels to create the loop. This setting need only be set when Yes is selected for M007. The larger the value of this setting, the further into the center of the pallet the loop will be placed. When Yes is selected for M009 over banding, the machine will apply up to 9 additional horizontal bands around the load. It is used to maintain the integrity of the load when only a portion of the load is removed and the remainder is placed back into storage or shipment. With Yes selected, the program will place up to 9 bands on the load. The program display shows a T followed by 8 zeros and a B where the T signifies the top of the pattern and B the bottom. A single band or multiple bands can be placed at each location until the total number reaches the maximum of 9 bands. For example, T10000001B will place 1 extra band of tape on the top of the load and 1 band on the bottom. A setting of T10200200B will place 1 band in the top zone and 2 bands in each of the 3rd and 5th zones. M010 banding is identical in function to M009 over banding. It appears in the place of M007 through M009 when M006 multi-X is set to no. It is programmed in the same method as overbanding or M009. The program automatically selects the appropriate turntable and carriage speeds based on the pattern selections made above. In some applications, it may be necessary to increase or decrease these speeds depending on the pallet load or required production rate. M0011 and M012 are used to override the program selected speeds. Consult the instructions and parts list or a 3M representative for additional information. M013 CHEP pallet is set to Yes when CHEP or Lascombe pallets are used. The program then automatically sets the pallet width and length to 1,160 millimeters each. You will also note that program lines M014, 15, and 16 no longer appear in the program. When N is selected for M013, the pallet length and width must be entered into the program. M014 length is the length of the pallet. This is the longer side of a rectangular pallet. This side of the pallet will run parallel to the tape as it is fed from the machine. M015 is the width of the pallet. This side of the pallet will run perpendicular to the tape as it is fed from the machine. These values change in preset increments. You should select program dimensions that most closely match your pallet dimensions. If the load dimensions are smaller than the pallet, use the dimensions of the load in place of the pallet for optimum wrapping. M016, New Home, is used to define a convenient height at the end of wrapping to allow easier access for tape loading and threading. A recommendation for this setting is 800 millimeters. M017I Delay defines the amount of time the carriage will continue to travel once the top of the pallet is seen by the photo sensor. Changes to this value of the crossover X position, also the position of the looping. In most every application, changing the factory setting of 1.16 is not required. Setting M018 part pallet to Yes indicates to the machine that the top layer of the load is incomplete. The machine will place a series of horizontal bands around the partial loop layer to secure in.